Johnny Depp has reached a stage in life where silence speaks louder than fame ever did. At 61, he is no longer chasing the spotlight that once defined him. Instead, he is carefully rebuilding a life that feels real and grounded. For years, the world saw him as a larger-than-life figure, a Hollywood icon who could disappear into any role. But behind that image was a man carrying emotional weight that success could not erase. His recent reflections are not dramatic confessions, but quiet realizations. He has begun to acknowledge that the life people admired was not always the life he experienced. Now, rather than explaining himself to the world, he seems focused on understanding himself, choosing peace over performance and truth over expectation. Walking away from Hollywood. In 2023, Johnny Depp made a decision that surprised even his closest followers. Without any grand announcement, he stepped away from Los Angeles and settled in the English countryside. It wasn't a dramatic exit. It was almost invisible. One day, he was part of Hollywood's rhythm, and the next, he had quietly removed himself from it. For months, there were no public appearances, no interviews, no headlines centered on his daily life. This absence wasn't about mystery, it was about space. In a rare comment, he explained that he wasn't trying to disappear, but to find a sense of calm he hadn't felt in years. The countryside offered him something the industry never could: privacy, stillness, and the chance to live without constant scrutiny. Finding meaning in simple living life in Somerset brought a different rhythm to Johnny Depp's days. Far from film sets and flashing cameras, he began to embrace ordinary routines that once felt out of reach. Early morning walks, reading in quiet corners, and long hours spent alone became part of his new normal. These simple habits were not signs of withdrawal, but of healing. After decades of living under public attention, the absence of noise allowed him to reconnect with himself. Those who encountered him described a man who moved gently through his surroundings, without urgency or performance. It was a version of Depp that felt unfamiliar to the public, but deeply authentic. In this slower life, he wasn't losing himself. He was rediscovering who he had been before fame reshaped everything. Painting as a form of expression. During this period of reflection, art became a powerful outlet for Johnny Depp. Painting, once a quiet hobby, evolved into something far more meaningful. Through his work, he expressed emotions that words often failed to capture. His collection, A Bunch of Stuff, revealed a deeply personal side of him, one that embraced vulnerability rather than hiding it. The paintings carried a sense of introspection, filled with layered emotions and subtle storytelling. Audiences didn't just see images, they felt the weight behind them. For Depp, art was not about recognition or success. It was about release. Each brushstroke seemed to carry a piece of his journey, allowing him to process experiences in a way that felt honest and private, away from public interpretation. Returning to music and inner calm, long before acting, music had been Johnny Depp's first passion. In this new phase of life, he returned to it with a different perspective. Rejoining Hollywood vampires alongside Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, he found comfort in sound rather than spectacle. Performing was no longer about energy or image. It became a quiet form of connection. His presence on stage felt calmer, more reflective. Music offered him a space where he didn't need to prove anything. It allowed him to exist in the moment, free from expectations. Over time, this return to music also reflected a deeper personal shift, one toward balance, clarity, and a more mindful way of living. Facing the past with perspective. Johnny Depp's journey has included highly public challenges that shaped how the world viewed him. Rather than revisiting those moments with intensity, he now speaks about them with distance and reflection. He has acknowledged that those years were difficult, not just professionally, but emotionally. What stands out is not the conflict itself, but how he has chosen to move forward. Instead of holding on to frustration, He appears focused on growth and understanding. His perspective suggests a desire to close chapters rather than relive them. This approach reflects maturity and a willingness to let time reshape painful memories. By stepping back, he has created space to heal, allowing the past to exist without defining his present. A quiet transformation, the most noticeable change in Johnny Depp today, is not tied to his career, but to his presence. Those who have met him in recent years often describe a sense of calm that contrasts sharply with his earlier public image. He appears more grounded, more attentive, and less burdened by external expectations. This transformation is not dramatic or performative. It is subtle and steady. His lifestyle reflects this shift, focusing on health, routine, and emotional balance. He no longer seems driven by the need to maintain a certain image. Instead, he prioritizes well-being and authenticity. This quieter version of Depp may not dominate headlines, but it represents a deeper kind of success, one rooted in personal peace rather than public approval. Returning to work on his own terms, when Johnny Depp chose to return to acting, it was not a return to the old system. His role in Jane du Barry marked a thoughtful re-entry into cinema, one that emphasized storytelling over spectacle. The reception he received reflected respect for both his talent and his resilience. Moving forward, he has shown interest in projects that feel meaningful rather than commercially driven. This shift highlights a new approach to his craft, one that values depth and connection over scale. By choosing roles carefully, he is shaping a career that aligns with who he is today, not who he was expected to be in the past. Redefining success and legacy at 61, Johnny Depp's journey offers a different perspective on success. It is no longer about box office numbers or public recognition. Instead, it is about living a life that feels true and balanced. His story is not one of disappearance, but of transformation. By stepping away, he gained the clarity to redefine what matters most. Today, his legacy extends beyond films and performances. It includes resilience, self-reflection, and the courage to change direction when needed. Depp is no longer chasing the version of himself that once captivated Hollywood. He is building something quieter but more meaningful, a life shaped by intention, creativity, and a renewed sense of self.